tunnel revolution is coming. Before I do that, I did want to acknowledge Solutions Australia for their sponsorship of this morning's events. Josh and Sky are fantastic to work with, done a marvellous job with their stand downstairs. Please pay them a visit. And without further ado, Frank, if you're ready, come forward. I think you really want to hear this presentation, because what Frank is going to talk about is what might a tunnel solution be for an in-bay automatic site. So, Frank, it's all yours. That's mine. Oh, and if anybody sees my glasses, can they let me know?
Good. This is on. Sorry, excuse me. How do I switch? Just back. So this is forward, this is back? That's correct. Okay. Morning, everyone. My name is Frank Cazares. I'm with Sonny's Enterprises, the car wash factory. A little bit history about myself. I've been with Sonny's for 25 years. I'm the international equipment sales manager. I also deal with some of our domestic clients in the U.S., some of our big house accounts. Today's presentation is how to transform your in-bay into a high-volume mini express tunnel. And I'm just going to go over a little bit about Sonny's. Sonny's is the largest car wash equipment manufacturer in the world. We're a single source manufacturer, so we have everything under one umbrella. We have our 12 solutions or our 12 divisions, and that's how we're able to provide customers everything under one umbrella. We're a true manufacturer, not a house assembler, and we've received many best in category manufacturing awards throughout the year. And just some of our solutions that we have that we help our customers with is our consulting. A lot of that consulting is site analysis and performa that we provide. That is very US driven. We have more capability of pulling a lot of data in the US. We are able to do some of this in Australia with the help of our distributor, Joshua Cameron, and probably if we're going to do a site analysis performa on your site, we're probably going to need a little help from you guys as well to get some of that information that we need to put together the site analysis. We also offer Car Wash College. You can send your employees or yourself to the US to take our maintenance, repair, and management class, or we also offer it all online as well. We also obviously have our car wash equipment manufacturing portion. We also do controls, so we have our own pay station with LPR. We have fuel integration. We provide all that for the pay station part of it. And then our back room, chemistry, water, vacuum, everything in-house. We also do marketing assistance. So we have SLAM. They can help you with any branding or how to drive more customers on your site. We also do all the signage for inside the tunnel and outside the site. And then we do all replacement parts for Sonny's equipment and a lot of other OEMs. So, So the problem with an in-bay automatic, not so much technical problems, it's more wash volume. You have a lot of restrictions with an in-bay versus an express tunnel. So you're limited to how many cars you can wash. You're limited to also the amount of time that you're providing the customer wait time, and then your ROI is going to take a lot longer to get compared to being able to wash more cars per hour. With the in-bay, the processing time, and these numbers here we're using somewhat just average numbers, you're looking at about 5 minutes to maybe even 14 minutes, depending on the wash package that the customer is selecting. So while that one car is being washed in the tunnel, you have the queue, and those customers are now waiting double the time. So if your wash is taking 7 minutes, the customer waiting for the next wash is really waiting 14 minutes because he's waiting the 7 minutes for the wash process and then his 7 minutes that he was waiting for the other car to leave the bay. Your maximum average with a in-bay is probably going to be roughly about 9 cars an hour. At a $12 ticket average, you're looking at about $108 an hour, and your cars washed per month is going to be about 2,160. So your total revenue for the month is going to be about $25,920, compared to an express where you can wash up to 50 cars an hour with an average ticket of $12. Your maximum revenue is going to be close to the $144,000. Now, the difference with the express versus the in-bay is you're able to wash multiple cars at once, not just one car at a time. So the wash process time is a lot shorter for the customer, and also the queue, the customer's waiting in line, they're not waiting so long for the next wash. And then here, this slide here is just showing you average. Now, this is in US gallons. I know you use liters here, right? But this is just to show you just your possible capture rate. So if you're pumping 150 gallons of gas at an average of $12, your number of customers is going to be about 12,500. So based on these numbers, if you're capturing 20, 25, or 30%, you can then see your monthly wash revenue and your annual wash revenue, obviously a lot higher compared to an in-bay automatic. And then this here is one of our sites that we did in California. There is a case study. I will show the QR code in one of the other slides. With this here, with the Express model, you're able to provide wash club membership programs a lot easier than with an in-bay. With an in-bay, because you're restricted with the time, customers aren't going to really be willing to want to pay a monthly fee to not be able to wash their cars as quick as they would want to. With today's customers, they want everything very quick. So with an express wash, you're able to put together a membership plan and have customers come to your site more often and more willing to join the membership plan compared to if you're only offering it with an in-bay. And with a gas station site, we're able to integrate our fuel pump integration, so the customer has the ability to pay at the pump. And as an owner, you have the discretion of providing a discount for the fuel if they're buying at the pump. And then that's going to bring more customers onto your site to pump gas, pay for a wash, and then obviously potentially go into the C-store to buy a soda or a water or something from the C-store. Now, the comparisons with an in-bay to a express. Your cars per hour changes very drastically with an express. Depending on the wash package the customers are selecting, you're going to have a wash time of either 5 minutes up to 13, maybe 14 minutes. Obviously, that's going to take a long time per car, and like I mentioned earlier, the customers that are waiting in queue, they're going to get frustrated. They're going to want to probably leave the queue because they have other stuff they have to go do. They're not going to want to wait as long for a wash. Where with an express wash, you're able to wash up to 50 cars an hour with a 43-foot or a 50-foot tunnel. Back to the time, with a tunnel, wash process is probably going to be about 3 minutes compared to a in-bay where you're looking at 7 minutes up to maybe even 14, 15 minutes. And then the convenience factor changes very drastically with an express because you're not waiting, your customers aren't waiting as long for the wash time, and obviously the waiting for the actual wash. With the express, you're able to upsell a lot easier because you're able to integrate all the extra applications or anything like that to the wash without changing the actual wash time. With an in-bay, if you're adding any extra services, you're adding more time to the passes, so it's going to just increase the wash time on an in-bay. The subscription, again, the unlimited versus the limited on an in-bay just because of time. You're more flexible, easier to get a customer to join your membership plan on an express mini tunnel.
Sorry, just to break you for 2 seconds. You've got the upselling there as in a tunnel wash, but a tunnel wash system, how do you add extra washes if each vehicle is moving on a conveyor belt at the same speed?
So when you pull up to the pay station, you're going to have 3 or 4 different wash packages, and there is where you would upsell. So even if a customer gets the low package, you can still program the pay station to offer an extra function or application like a ceramic or a graphene.
So my question was more along the lines of the person that first goes in has the highest level package. They pick the $40 package,
Yep.
everything they can possibly get, and the person behind them then picks the $12 package, the cheapest express wash to run through. How do you apply the same amount of chemical quality and stuff to the vehicle for the $40 and still push the vehicle behind it that's only got 4 products going on it through at the same speed on the tunnel wash?
Well, because the speed on the conveyor doesn't change depending on the amount of applications or functions that you're running through the wash. The speed stays the same. Everything's just timed accordingly, and it's going to go on with the same conveyor speed. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay. So the space requirements are very similar, and that's why we're able to easily convert an in-bay automatic to an express. So we can fit the actual car wash, the washing equipment inside the same amount of space as the in-bay tunnel. Depending on how long the tunnel is, some of the conveyor might stick out outside, which isn't really a big deal, especially if you're not in any very cold winter conditions. The investment, this is just equipment, obviously construction and all that. There will be a little bit of construction involved with converting to an express, but that varies across the board. So this is just mentioning equipment costs. They're a little higher with a conveyorized tunnel, but the return on your investment is a lot faster, and you're going to wash more cars, more throughput, so you will make more revenue on a mini tunnel. Yes.
How high are they? Like, what's the height of the cars that they can take?
So 7.6 is usually our clearance. 2.7. Minimum length, we don't like to do anything shorter than 43 feet. I want to say 13 meters. I can look it up real quick. Yeah, 13 meters is the shortest. Anything shorter, we now have to start taking equipment out, and then the wash process quality is going to suffer a little bit. Yeah.
So if 43 feet or 13 metres, that's the actual wash length?
That is the length of the actual conveyor. Yeah. So wash length is probably going to be about 35 feet because we can fit everything inside a 35-foot bay. So the investment in bay, you're looking at probably about 80,000 to 200,000 versus a express mini tunnel. You're looking at about 400 to 500,000 on equipment.
That's US?
That's US, yes. And then the payback on one versus the other, with a mini tunnel, you're going to probably get your return on investment within a year or two.
And what about servicing of these tunnels? Have you got enough local service maintenance people for this?
Yeah, we have Car Wash Solutions of Australia, and they're the rep for us here, and they have their maintenance people as well. Yes.
All the states?
I believe they do. I'd have to confirm with him that he has them in all the states, but he does have a group of technicians. Yeah. Yes.
Your conveyor system, is it on a chain or is it on like
A belt? So we offer both options. Yeah. So with the over-under conveyor, that's more our traditional style. That's an option. Something I was going to jump into later is whether you're going to be attended or unattended. I think everyone has their own opinion about attended or unattended in an express, mainly because with an in-bay, it is a little easier to just pull in. You're kind of being told what to do. On an over-under conveyor, you're relying on the customer to align themselves inside the track. So if it's unattended, the chances of something happening is a little higher. So we suggest that you have it attended. If you're keen on having it unattended, that's where the belt would probably come in, because that is just a smoother transition onto the belt. Less chances of something happening versus a over-under conveyor. Yeah. And then with today's customers, what most customers are looking for is speed, convenience, and now with the membership, we're able to help with that, because now they can pay their membership every month. They don't have to worry about paying when they get to the pay station, and that's just going to make them want to go to your site more often. If it's a gas station site, now them visiting the site more often is going to make them want to pump gas and maybe buy something at the C-store. And then as an operator, what you're obviously looking for is to increase your revenue, maximize your wash volume, and get your return on investment a lot faster. So with the express model, that possibility is a lot higher. Now, the site analysis, what I had mentioned earlier, we can assist with that. Most of the time, we're probably going to need some of your assistance getting information from the city, traffic count, population, whatever we're not be able to pull from our end, maybe locally, either the customer or our distributor can help us with that as well. So some considerations to think about if you're looking to convert an in-bay is utilities. Do you have enough electricity? For a typical express remodel, you're looking at needing at least maybe 400 amps. And then your requirement for the width of the bay, that's one thing that I'd like to mention is most bays are 15, 16 feet. Anything less than 15 and a half feet might be an issue. Reason is the wraparounds need some room to open. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting the walls and tearing up the material. So we prefer to see a bay that is 16 feet. If it's 15 and a half, we could work with it. We would just put some slip plates on the wall, but 16 feet is the ideal width. Length, anything shorter than 35, we might have to look into, but anything longer obviously is not an issue. And then with the pay stations, one thing to consider is if we're doing a 43-foot, 50-foot, we can probably get away with one pay station lane. Typically, a pay station lane allows you to process 50, 60 cars an hour. Anything longer than a 43-foot that you're able to wash more cars per hour, we might have to look at adding a second lane, just so you can keep up with the flow of the cars coming in. With the pay station, also we have the fuel pump integration, so customers are able to pay at the gas pumps, get a wash code, go to the pay station, punch the wash code, and there with the pay station, we're able to also upsell them for the memberships as well. Can't do it at the pumps, but they can do that at the pay station by just entering their credit card information and their license plate, and then they just become a member through license plate recognition. And then if there's room on site, we would like to add the vacuums, because now you're able to make it an express wash with free vacuums. Customers really like the free vacuum option. When they hear free, they feel like they're getting something for free even though they're doing the work. But that just is something that attracts a lot of customers to your site, is being able to just vacuum their car as well. Yeah.
When you said it does license plate recognition when they put their credit card in, if you have a company that wants to have a fleet of cars, can they do that one credit card and 10 number plates?
I believe so. Honestly, I've never been asked that, but I would have to check with my controls division, but I believe they would be able to do it somehow. I just don't know the details. I would have to double check. I'm not 100% sure. Yes.
So just a question on the current requirements. Is that US power grid 400 amps, or is that related to the Australian grid?
Well, that'd be US. Yeah, 400 amp US.
Is there an option of going three-phase here? Or is it all single phase?
No, it's all three-phase. Yeah. All our wash equipment motors and power packs, they're all three-phase. Yeah. That would be based on our either 208, 230, 460, but our motors are multi-voltage that can be wired at your 415. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to dig into some of the equipment. So this is a basic package that we would provide for a mini tunnel express. We have our smart loader and smart greeter. That is a new, we call it the matrix arch, and what it has is it has two TV screens on each side, and we have a camera that will align the car with a green line so the customer is looking at the screen and being able to load. This is if it's the over-under conveyor, being able to load a lot easier. Typically in an express wash, you have a loader guiding them on, and they're telling them go this way, go that way, which that obviously is better than having no one there. But with the smart loader, there's actually a line. They're looking at their car from the other end with a green line, and as soon as the tire is not on the green line, they can tell, so it helps them load. And if you're going unattended with an over-under conveyor, this would be a good option to include. And then we have our Pico High Performance Dual Spin Top Brush. It's dual action, so each brush is spinning in a different direction. So it's getting the car in all different areas and eliminating a lot of the shadowing on the car. And then obviously all our ceramic and graphene applicators would be included in the package. And then an option is the tire dressing applicator. Most in-bays don't have that option because you do need it offline, so you do need a longer tunnel or bay. So a lot of in-bays don't offer that, but with our conveyorized tunnel, you can have the tire shiner option as well.
Your servicing, something at break, back up there, what's your lead time before someone can come out and fix it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Something had to break on that whole system there. What's your lead time before someone can come out and fix it out?
So Car Wash Solutions would be the group to come out. I guess it really would depend on where you're located and their availability, but I would say within a day or two, they should be able to go out there.
Yeah.
And then one thing with our equipment, it is manufactured very open architecture, very easy for maintenance. A lot of the maintenance you'd be able to do yourself or your employees, especially if they attend Car Wash College, which is highly recommended. They'd be able to do a lot of the service and maintenance themselves. Like if you mean like if someone
Like a customer just jumps on and
damages something?
damages something, yeah.
Yeah, well, that would be something totally different, but if we needed to replace the equipment, we could send something out right away. It'd come from the US, but at least we would be able to ship it out right away. And this here is the dual top brush that we incorporate in the mini tunnel. So we're multi-directional just to be able to clean the tops a lot better than with just one directional top brush.
What happens with the wipers there? We have a lot of SUVs with wipers on the back.
So a lot of times, if they're loose, unfortunately, you might run into the situation that they could get pulled off, but a lot of customers put little baggies over it or tape it just as a precaution so it doesn't get pulled off.
I've seen on the Facebook groups, they rip up a lot of those.
Yeah. So the other option would be a front-to-back mirror. So they're a little less aggressive, which I'll show you in one of the packages coming up.
So you can change and switch different functions, like you can remove that, put a mirror.
Yeah, we can change one of these or both of these for a midder. Yeah. All our equipment is interchangeable. Yeah.
Just on that, do you have any touch-free tunnels?
We do offer touch-free. Our theory is, or I like to give the analogy of washing your hands. If you put soap and you're not scrubbing your hands, you're not cleaning them. So with a touch-free, we feel the same, except if you wanted to go touch-free to really get a cleaner car, you would need a longer conveyor. Because with a touch-free, you need a lot more high pressure, a lot more dwell time. With a mini tunnel, in my opinion, you wouldn't get a clean car with that short of a tunnel.
On average, what's the lifespan of one of those brushes?
On the material itself?
Yeah, because they get dirty from the carpet fall
Yeah, so we typically say about probably 200,000 cars you'll get out of a brush.
200,000.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so this here would be a tended belt. Sorry, did I go one too far? No, I didn't. Okay. This would be an attended belt, and we say attended because we do have the two top brushes. And with the top brushes, I'm not sure here if certain areas, cars tend to have a lot of racks on the top. Okay. If that's the case, the top brush might be an issue because the top brush will get caught in that or yank it off and you will have issues. We do have a retract function, but depending on how many of the cars on the roads have a rack, you might be eliminating a lot of the top washing for those cars. So if that's the case, we would go with the front to back mitter instead, which is a lot more forgiving than a top brush. If you have cars with racks and don't want to retract all the time so you'd be able to clean the hood, the top, and the back of the cars. So these two packages are very similar except for the top brush. And then here we have our attended over-under, which is same package as the belt, just with an over-under conveyor. And then this is the soapy saddles in California that converted from in-bay to an express. I don't know if your camera will catch that QR code, but you can scan that and watch the case study on it. So what they did is they added the tunnel to their site. They increased their wash volume. They were restricted with the vacuum, so they were only able to put 4 vacuums. Adding the vacuums is a plus. If you're able to add more than 4, I would suggest to do that just because the vacuum area could also get a little congested, especially if you're offering free vacuums. The option with a site like this, if you didn't want to offer the free vacuums, you could offer pay vacuums. That might will minimize the use of it a little, but at least you're not having a bottleneck, depending on where they are, constricting kind of traffic flow on the site.
How accurate is the LPR?
It's very accurate. Probably 99% accurate on the LPR, yeah.
On the free vacuums, have you commercialised like how much more revenue is driven by having free vacuums versus none at all versus paid vacuums?
So I know they're working on that. Our business development department's working on that. They're trying to come up with a formula to see what that is. For us, I think the struggle is a large portion of our washes have the free vacuums versus not having the free vacuums. So I think they're still trying to gather that data to be able to put those numbers together.
Just a quick one. With your LPR and monthly club plan, is that done online or do they have to go into the Sophie Saddlers?
They have both options. So that you can do it online or you can do it at the pay station. Okay. Yeah. This is another case study we have. I don't have the QR code. This one here is in South Florida. It was double in-bay that they converted the first tunnel into a 53-foot tunnel, express tunnel, I'm sorry. And then in 2018, they converted the second one and made it a dual tunnel. And here you can see what they were washing. They were washing up to 900 cars a day, 200,000 cars annually. This site specifically was a rare one because it was an out parcel of one of the busiest Walmarts in the U.S. Down in the Keys. But it shows you the potential that you have in converting an in-bay versus an express.
Do you know what sort of membership numbers they had to do those numbers?
Off the
Probably the key figure.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I know average, most of my customers that I talk to in the U.S., they're averaging between 2,000 up to 4,000 members a month. I have a customer in Texas that has gone up to 6,000 members. Yeah.
Is there, do you have any of the tunnel systems in the northern part of Australia, or are they all in the south?
I believe they're all in the south. I'd have to get with Joshua to see if he's done any in the north, but I believe they're all, we have in Sydney and then down south. Yeah. that's
The boom gates that were on that last photo and everything, is that a specific to that site, or is it something that's recommended from Sunny's to, so they've got?
you're referring to this?
Yeah, so they've got boom gates there, so I'm assuming that's to slow traffic influx into the washers themselves, therefore payment standards behind the boom gate. Once they've paid, boom gate opens ready when their turn to go in.
Correct.
That way you don't get people getting too close to the next car, so it's effectively manning the site without manning the site, is that the?
In a way, so the reason for the gates is, for example, here there's 2 pay stations, so you don't want one customer to get ahead of the other, because then the tunnel's not gonna know which car got which wash package. Originally, now we do have digital queue and smart queue that now it recognizes the car. And so if you didn't have any gates or the gates were broken for whatever reason, you can still manage that. Our control system is now smart enough to know this car, based on what the picture it took and the license plate, what package it got. But typically that's just to eliminate the customers from just driving through, number one, and number two, just so they're in queue based on the wash package that they selected.
Just a quick question. You've got 2 million annually at the bottom. Then at the top, that Liberty wash is made up of a conveyor, 1 in-bay, and 3 self-serve bays. Do you know what the breakup is of that 2 million? Whether 3 self-serve bays make up 1 million of that? Or?
So the 2 million is current with 2 express mini tunnels. Originally, it was 2 in-bays, a self-serve, or 3 self-serves. They converted it to 1 express tunnel, left the in-bay and the self-serve. And then in 2018, they ripped out the second in-bay and added a second mini tunnel. So the 2 million is the 2 tunnels generating that amount.
So no self-serve?
I believe they removed the self-serves as well, yeah. So I probably went through this a little faster than I thought I would. Would you guys like to see if I can have them play the case study? Yeah. Do you have a way to play that? Oh, you can't? Okay, sorry.
Can I ask
I
a
tried.
question? Belt versus under over. What's the pros and cons going, if we're going to, let's say we're going to build an express mini and we've got space is an issue. What's the pros and cons with belt versus under over?
So they both have pros and cons. Originally, one of the cons with the belt was the wheel washing, because the tires aren't moving, and with our over-under conveyor, the wheels are turning, so we're able to bring in a tire brush and hit it with a rocker brush. We've now have designed equipment to take place of the tire brush higher and be able to come in with a tire that's not rotating. I think the biggest con on the belt is the price. It's a lot higher than an over-under. If an over-under belt or conveyor is 40 or 60,000, a belt, you're looking at probably about 125 to 150,000.
Does your system do underbody wash?
We don't do underbody wash. We have a very low pressure undercarriage. It's more for like rust inhibitor or some type of chemical under, but Sunny's does not do the high pressure underwash. If you were to incorporate it, you'd have to get it from another manufacturer.
Frank, in a perfect layout, you would want the vacuums on the exit side of the tunnel?
It depends on the layout. I like vacuums before you wash, typically because, in my opinion, customers are taking out mats, dust is going everywhere. That, to me, is kind of getting back on the car. If the layout allows it to be before, I prefer to do it before.
And your thoughts on no vacuums at all?
It has its place. Again, if you're restricted with space, I think space is the biggest thing. I also believe that the vacuums attracts customers onto your site. So if you're able to add the vacuums, my suggestion would be to add as many as you can based on the site size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If a customer washes their car, then they go home, a couple of days later they find a scratch or something on the car. They call you up. What kind of systems do you have to say you're the one who
Right. Yeah, car washes go through that all the time. So we can provide a camera system at the entrance and the exit of the car, or of the tunnel. So it's gonna capture the car coming in, and it's gonna obviously film it all, and at the exit, you can then see that the scratch was there, or if it wasn't there, and then take it from there.
How much does that account for, like, is there some sort of percentage that says, no, if your revenue is this much, take into account 0.1% is...
I believe our performance shows 1%.
I think it depends if it's an aftermarket part on your car. Because if it's an aftermarket part, it's probably going to break going through a high pressure wash. But if it's manufactured from Toyota straight to the dealership, I'm sure your system warranties it.
Well, that would be up to the car wash owner's discretion, what you're gonna cover. But yeah, right. Anything aftermarket typically wouldn't be covered in any industry, really. Yeah.
You wouldn't have any metrics on the most common type of vehicle that uses the tunnel wash in America? So we obviously don't have much over here to be able to compare against, but is it SUVs, is it sedans, we have utes here obviously, which isn't a big thing for you guys, but
I don't know if we have that data, but I mean, I think it's all across the board. Everyone over there is washing everything.
the reason I ask is because Australia's market's a unique sort of market in the way that our vehicles fitted out.
Mhm.
So a roof rack is a very common item here in Australia. We have more four-wheel drives here than we do have standard sedan vehicles per metric. So it's I think the Australian market now sits at 60% of four-wheel drive capability. So our market is a slightly different market than what America does in that sort of front. I can see tunnel washes working well in this sort of environment, like in the city centres,
Right.
where there's more of an office working style mentality and everything. But I'm rural Western Australia, so we're 2 hours south of a major capital city. You know, it's a completely different market to deal with.
And when you say four-wheel, you're referring to more like pickup trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So in the States, we have the same. You'll have Texas that's probably mostly pickup trucks, and there's many express washes there washing those specific
the
vehicles.
problem with ours is that, like, I don't know many four-wheel drives that don't have what we call a bull bar or a push bar at the
Push
front,
bar in the front, yep.
which is a catch point, obviously, for the things. They've all got roof racks. Awnings are a big thing here in Australia, so they're a side canopy that folds out from the vehicle. All those things is why you've already had a couple of questions about touchless units, because touchless units have a more attractive to the Australian market, because we've got so many bloody accessories hanging off our vehicles.
Right.
That to try to go through one of these, yes, they will do 100%, but I don't deny in any way, shape, or form that a friction wash will be better than a touchless. It's just I can't put my vehicle through.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, those type of vehicles, we would have to probably get a little more data with even Car Wash Solutions to see what the washes they've done here are washing, the type of cars, to see if we would have to retract certain components or just unfortunately deny the customer from washing the vehicle. Yeah.
Would your control system be able to identify that, or is that something that would need to be...
So we have a truck bed sensor that does, and they're working on more sophisticated components to be able to eventually do it automatically. Yeah. Right now, you are relying on your employees to see the car and hitting the retract function. Now, with a member, we can program it to already know that member needs a retract, and it automatically does it. Yeah. Yes?
How do you deal with like UHF aerials and stuff? Because we have a truck wash. We have a truck wash, and we find a lot of the brushes seem to pull aerials off trucks.
I don't know what an aerial is.
They're going to be tied down, like the big aerial
Oh, antennas.
They're going to be tied down.
Yeah, either tied down or removed.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Specifically if you have a top brush, because the top brush will grab that and pull it off. With a mitter, you might get away with it, because again, the mitter's a lot more forgiving. It's not really going to catch on anything. Yeah.
On your other case study, the next one, you had an increase now generating 2 million annually. What's the increase what it was originally?
Dollar-wise, I'm not sure. Unfortunately, this site is not in my region, so they included in the slide, but I believe they were washing, I want to say it was like 9,000 cars a month. It was something very low when they purchased it as 2 in-bays. The volume was very, very low. Once they converted it to an express, that's when it just skyrocketed.
But it's attended, right?
This one is attended, yes. Yeah.
Hey mate, how do you go in regards to information and education around car washes? Because one thing I noticed is that the average person that comes to a car wash, they're not sure of procedures about it all, and each car wash is different. So how do you guys combat giving out the right information and education to customers?
Customers coming onto the site to wash their car?
We noticed that when they've got screens and signs, they're not looking at it.
Of course.
You have a lot of displays in there and so forth. I was just thinking, what have you guys done to maybe address that?
So that's when having it attended helps a lot, because the employee can now educate the customer. Even having the wash material so they can touch it, feel it, explaining to them that they have to put their car in neutral. That's why we feel it's important to have it attended for those reasons.
Yeah, and when the attendant's not on site, so after hours, you have to go to place.
So typically the attended express washes in the US, if they're attended, they have certain hours they're open and they close. They're not open 24 hours. At a gas station, maybe you'd be attended during the day and unattended at night. Unfortunately, that's where you would have to rely on the customer to read all the signs and the TV screens and everything.
And you've got no new technology to make sure they're reading it?
Not yet.
Just with your, and it's not so much a conversion, but an addition. With our current machinery and technology that we've got here, with most, we're all in-based, and that's why we're looking at this particular one. But some of the technology obviously can't be incorporated because of, say, my problems with, accessories and all the rest of it. But I'm very interested in some of the items like your number plate recognition software and everything for membership data. Do you know just offhand the technology behind it? Is it pulse initiated? Is it so when it's communicating with the wash for your payment stands?
Mhm.
What sort of technology is behind it? Can it be backwards integrated with older machinery, or is it Sunny Pacific and it needs to be incorporated with Sunny Pacific equipment?
No, so the wash equipment doesn't have to use our controls. Obviously, we prefer you do, but it does not. Based on the controller that you use and the pay stations, that's going to tell the equipment by pulse or by signal what it has to turn on, turn off, retract. But you can use Sunny's equipment with someone else's control system, or vice versa.
Yeah, just in your experience, in Australia, you get a lot of the shopping centres where they scan your number plate, and then when you leave, they knows the number plate and charge you. Could you use that same technology with this car wash card instead of, because like with a car wash card nowadays, you have to send out a tag sometimes. Instead of doing that, we can do the LPR, but can you use the same technology from that they use at the shopping centres in the car wash?
To charge just that one time,
Send out a tag to these on a car wash card.
I don't know if I understand 100% what you're asking.
The LPR with the number plate recognition,
Yep.
that technology, can you use the same company that does it at a shopping centre? Can you implement that into a car wash?
Oh, the equipment itself?
Yes.
Like what the cameras and everything they're using? No, it does have to be the cameras and equipment that we have has to use with. That's what you have to use. I don't know if they would integrate. I don't think so. It's time.
For your machine, say 43 foot, put that in, what sort of car density or population or people population makes it viable?
For a 43-foot? So when we run the demographics, we're looking for at least 25,000 up. And then obviously the traffic count and then some of the demographic information is going to tie into that. So there's times that we might tell you that for that specific site, we would suggest a longer tunnel than a 43-foot. If the site permits and the budget permits, that'd be something you'd want to maybe consider. Because what happens is if you're on a busy site that has potential of washing more cars than a 43-foot tunnel can, you're going to run into a bottleneck because you're going to have more cars coming on site to wash than you can really maintain. Well, typically about 25,000 is what we look for based, and also we incorporate the competition as well. So anything 25 or higher, then if they're depending on the number of competition, is how we would gauge what size tunnel you're going to require.
What location is that?
Sorry?
What location? 25,000?
Within a 3-mile radius. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.